Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're just tuning in for the first time, this video is just my attempt to put a little bit of light and wellness back into the world. And one of the ways that I want to do that for now is by bringing awareness to the topic abuse, particularly domestic abuse. Last week and the week before that, we were talking about the tools of the abuser. Today I want to talk about the colors of the abuse, or markers of the abuse, the signs that someone is going through abuse. We've said before that some of the signs of abuse is evident, obvious, the physical ones, the physical bruises and broken limbs. But some of the other signs of abuse are not, the insidious ones are not as evident. And they can easily be overlooked and swept under the carpet. The society is constructed for us, right? And so it is important, I feel like it's important for us to identify some of those markers, identify some of the signs in people that we know, or people that, or even in situations for ourselves, where we can identify these things and know how to get ourselves out of them. Because knowing them will help you, make you not feel like you're crazy. That's the one thing. And then I want to also emphasize that abuse can happen to anyone, irrespective of your age, your status, your economic status, whatever it is, financial, spiritual, mental. Anyone could go through abuse, all right? And some of the signs that I want to be outlining do not always indicate that abuse is happening, but it's important for us to know them and to know how to identify them. Okay, very important as well. Many people who are going through abuse at some point actually defend the abuser because they've been conditioned to believe that what they're experiencing is normal. Okay, and what they've been conditioned to believe that they are less of who they are. They have such low self-esteem. They believe that whatever attitude or whatever behavior that they're experiencing with their partner is normal. Okay, and so they will cover up for the abuser. Even when you're trying to identify that this is wrong, you shouldn't be going through that, they'll tell you like, no, it's normal, blah, blah, blah. So what I'm trying to say essentially at this point is that the abused is the one that can tell when to get out of what she's going through. So being able to identify some of these things is not the solution to them. It's just a first step, okay, to getting out of an abusive environment or in a relationship. Now, one of the first major markers, again, of abuse, or the colors of the abused, is codependence, where you find that every action, every behavior is based off of what your abuser or what your partner, let's just call them a partner now, what your partner would say or do. Everything you say and do is based off what their reaction would be. Okay, and because they've been conditioned you've been conditioned rather to believe that you are less of who you are, so they do these things. They make you codependent on them in every way, by the way, financially, emotionally. We don't talk about some of these things before, just to make you feel less than who you are, and make you feel on your toes all the time. So you're having some of the signs that we'll talk about now. We're going to talk about now. Just go straight into it. Is anxiety, fear, intense fear. Anxiety in the sense that you're always anxious. You don't know what's going to happen, obviously, because they're so unpredictable. And then fear because you don't know how to react to certain things. Okay, and then you find out that one of the colors of the abuse as well is unhappiness in the relationship, but being afraid of the alternatives. You're not happy. You know that things are not the way they should be. Deep down, you do know that, but you're afraid of what will be out there because they have conditioned you to believe that nobody else will accept you for who you are. Nobody else understands you the way they do. Even you yourself, by the way. I remember being told that I know you better than you know yourself, which is weird, but they'll make you believe these things and make you believe that no one else can be with you. No one else can put up with you. Okay, and then when you find that you're consistently ignoring your needs for others, you find some women. Let me just use the example of women who are constantly cooking on their feet all day. I know, these experiences, constantly cooking all day and not even having any time to take care of yourself because you don't matter. Okay, you find some of these people, the colors of the abuse, some of them ditching their friends and plans and family to please their partner. You consistently seek out the partner's approval, criticizing yourself through the partner's eyes. I know at some point they were telling me that I was getting too fat. I remember being told by his mother that you better not go watch what you're eating. Don't eat that, don't eat that, don't eat that, because we don't want you to turn out to be like your mother, which is just absurd. You know, and then I get to the point where I actually constantly watch what I'm eating and trying to watch what I look like, and then especially because they'll tell you what to wear and tell you that you're dressing like something, dressing like all just, and then in the end, what it does essentially, what I'm trying to say is that it makes you extra cautious of yourself where you shouldn't be, where you not look at your eyes because they said this so and so thing about you. You believe it, so you look at yourself, you criticize yourself based off of their own perception of you, which is wrong. Okay, and then you ignore your own instincts when you know that certain things are true about yourself. You ignore them just because you want to please them. All right, you make a lot of sacrifices that are not reciprocated. You could have plans, like I said, you know, and then they'll tell you this is not the way you should go, and you have to change your plans just to satisfy them, and they never do the same thing to you. Never is reciprocated. Okay, and then you have this one of the colors of the abuse again is the fear of being alone. Now, codependence in general makes you, the essence of it is for them to be the center of your universe. Okay, so that nothing outside there you can't do anything without them. You can't go shopping. Essentially, I don't want to go into so many details, but essentially what they're trying to do is just to make you so stuck to them, to make you depend on them for every of your emotional, physical, and financial needs, that you become afraid of being alone, because also they've told you that no one else can accept you, so you have to stick to them. Okay, no one ever should make you feel that way. Love shouldn't be the point to the so codependent that you can't find any life without that person. I know we say this in theory, you know, when you're in the throes of love or whatever it is, but in practical terms, when you're going through unhappiness in a relationship, you shouldn't get to the point where you feel like you don't have alternatives. You're afraid of being alone. That is very dangerous. Okay, like we said earlier, you defend the abuser to the point of fighting for them. Then one of the markers again is where you try to rescue them from themselves, where you try to save your abuser. You know that he's doing something wrong, you know that she's doing something wrong, but you want to help them. It is not your responsibility to help them. They're the ones that make themselves that way, or whatever it is that made themselves that way. You cannot sacrifice your life to make someone else better. They have to first of all identify that they're being the aggressive one, they're being the abuser, but they will not do that. So there's no point in you taking all of the abuse just so that you can save them. It doesn't work that way. Okay, when you feel guilty for standing up for yourself. You think that you deserve the treatment. They make you feel like you deserve the treatment. You know, you change your behavior in accordance to your guilt because you feel like, oh, okay, he said I shouldn't be that way, and I did. Oh, right now you have to now behave, try to change your attitude just so that you can please them, just so that you don't make them offended. Okay, and then when you feel trapped and feel paralyzed to make decisions or to even protect yourself, or if you have children, to protect your children, it gets to that point, all right, where you feel like you can't find a way out, or so you spread this across board already. One of the things that I want to focus on a little bit today is that they sometimes bring out the worst in people. It is either extreme fear or extreme aggression. That's where you find the partners killing their partners because of how much abuse, because they've been, like we said, I'm sorry to sound cliche, when you've been pushed to the wall, you eventually fight back. Okay, so but either way, it is unhealthy and it is very destructive. Okay, so how do you identify some of the things I've said is people who are going through abuse? How do you identify these things in other people? When you see a friend or family member, someone who suddenly has very low self-esteem, someone who you knew was always robust and now doesn't talk, she looks depressed, he or she looks depressed. Someone who was always apologetic and very meek suddenly. You know, I remember when I left the relationship that I was in that was abusive, I got to the point where I was apologizing to everyone for everything. Something as little as, I know, just the silliest thing, and then someone had to tell me, you stop apologizing, and I realized, oh right, why am I apologizing so much? You know, you become so fearful. We talked about this. Then one of the things again is your changes in sleep pattern. Because of so much pressure, there's just so little. There's only little that there's so much that the body can take, and then you find that your sleep pattern has changed. You're just sleeping too much or not sleeping enough. You know, of course, and then you get bad repercussions because of that. You find extreme agitation, anxiety, and constant apprehension in people. And then sometimes people develop a drug and alcohol problem. You know, you have loss of interest in daily activities, and then the extreme one, obviously, is talking about or attempting suicide because they can't seem to find a way out. I want us to be conscious of this because you would know someone, a family member, a friend, someone who was a friend before and then suddenly has pulled away because he or she has gotten into a relationship, or even a little child, by the way. You know, I want us to be conscious of the behaviors of everyone around us, conscious of people who we know, who we knew. All right. In my case, as I'm saying this because I like I said before, I've experienced some of these things and I know how bad it can get. In my case, it got to the point where I didn't have any friends at all, and the friends from my past who were trying to get in contact with me, I had to hide, or had to just tell them, I'll call you back if they try to call me. Some of them who had eventually got my number, or some of them who tried to message me on Facebook and other social media. I pulled away from them. And then the first thing people would think is because, oh, she's married now, she needs to pull away. I don't think that should be a marker for pulling away or having. Of course, you would move away from your past friends, your old friends, and make new ones. But you shouldn't get to the point where you're afraid to talk to your old friends because of your partner. Okay, I want us to be conscious of the fact that abuse, I will always say this, and I want to say this and emphasize this: if nothing else happens today, nothing else you can take from this, just take this away. Abuse is not always evident. You can see a very happy couple outside, but they're going through abuse. You can see a very successful couple on social media, but something is going on behind closed doors that you don't know. Okay, and like I said, it is very difficult. It's easily swept away. It's easily ignored. So I want us to be conscious of it in relationships that we see around us, because you don't know who you'll be helping, who you'll be trying to save, whose life you'll be trying to save. It could be children, it could be a woman, it could be a man. Okay, so what I want you to do essentially now is to reach out to some of your friends, no matter who it is. Just say hello, how are you doing? Something as little as that. Next week I'll talk about how some of these actions helped me to pull through what I had to go through. Okay, so I would now like to end with the things that I always say at the end of all my videos. Okay, you are worth it. Your happiness is valid. You matter. Don't let anyone anywhere make you feel less of yourself. Okay, don't let anyone put you down to the point where you feel like you don't know who you are any longer, or that your happiness is not important. I keep saying this: your happiness is valid. All right, I will have a next section next week. Till then, see you. Bye.